Hello, 大家好. This is Mixing with JBP, and welcome to my first video. A while ago, I put out a post on Instagram asking everyone what your biggest frustrations and questions were about mixing. Thank you to everyone who submitted a question, and I wanted to make this video to answer those questions in more depth and detail. So let's get started. So our first question is, don't know where to start, don't know which plugins are good, don't know how to get a good/appropriate sound. So I would say start with the plugins you have. Your ears and your skills will always be more important than the plugins. If you're new to mixing, start by learning EQ and compression. Those will make up 80% of your mix. And then the last question about a good/appropriate sound, I think this is a good tip for everyone, not just beginners. It is important to define good. As an example, over here we have an EQ curve on a piano that I mixed recently. And over here we have another EQ curve that's also on a piano on another song I mixed recently. And as you can tell, this piano over here is nice and warm, while this piano is bright and aggressive. So which one is good? Well, both of them are. It just depends what the genre of the song is, the feeling the song is trying to emote, the other instruments in the song. And that's why it's important to define what good is before you start mixing. Okay, question 2. Choosing the right compressor, or how to choose the right compressor. Well, here are some things to consider when choosing which compressor you want to use. I would say the first thing is to decide whether you want the compressor to impart some sort of tone, color, or character in addition to the compression you're adding? Or do you want the compressor to just compress the signal without adding any tone to be more transparent and clean? More vintage-styled compressors, such as the 1176 or the LA2A, they impart their own character as well as compression. Whereas digital style, like this fab filter compressor, they're more clean and transparent in nature. The second thing to consider is how much flexibility and control do you need from this compressor? Do you just need attack and release? Do you need just threshold and makeup gain? Or do you need the option of hard knee, soft knee, ratios, side chaining, etc.? So our third and fourth question are both related. The first one is normalizing. And the second one is how to make tracks sound louder, bigger after YouTube normalizing. In other words, both these questions are about loudness. And this is a topic that I can go into further detail. Please comment down below if you want a more in-depth explanation on this topic. But just for the sake of this video, number 1, use a limiter on your output or the last track on your mix. And you're probably already doing this, but just for the friends out there who are not doing that, use a limiter. The second tip would be use multiple limiters if you need. I've actually used up to 3 in a row. Number 3 would be make sure your frequencies are balanced, especially low-end frequencies, because they take up a lot of headroom. Tip number 4 is to make sure your dynamics and transients are balanced so that you have more headroom to limit harder. Here we are in Pro Tools, and let's see how transient control and frequency balance can give you more headroom, more potential to get your tracks louder. So here we have a mix, and I've bypassed everything to do with transient control. So all my compressors and limiters. I've also added a nice little warm low shelf to show you what happens when there's too much low end. So let's look at our limiter here and hear how it sounds. As you can see, we're getting around 3 to 4 dBs of gain reduction. We've even had a max gain reduction of 6 dB. Now, let me engage all my plugins, all my compressors and limiters, as well as take away our exaggerated low boost and look at our limiter again. we're getting 1.5 dB of gain reduction, which means we can push the track louder. Let's see how far we can go. So that sounds good to me. It's louder, but it's not killing the drums. It's still nice and punchy. And we've managed to gain 2.5 dB of overall volume, which is a lot when it comes to mastering, or if you're pre-mastering your own mix. On to the next question. Why are you so good? First of all, thank you. I would say things that got me to where I am today include listening to a lot of music and analyzing what makes that mix good. Pay attention to the character of the mix. Is it a warm mix? Is it a bright mix? Are things really compressed and hyped up, or does it sound more natural? How are the different instruments related to each other? What are the most important elements? Is the vocal the loudest, or is it actually the kick drum or the bass? The second thing would be to listen to feedback from your peers or different producers, especially those who have more experience than you, especially things that you can improve on. The next thing would be time and experience. Mixing is a hard skill, and your ear needs time to be trained. Be patient with yourself and just keep mixing and learning and improving and training your ear, which is what I'm trying to do with these videos. So that concludes my first ever video. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you again to those who submitted a question on Instagram. If you have any other questions or want further explanation on any other topics, please comment below or find me on Instagram at mixingwith.jbp. Stay tuned for next week when we have part 2 of our Instagram Q&A series. See you then.